Hey guys, welcome. My name's Tom and I'm going to give you a free little taster class as to what I teach in mobility. It's based off the functional range systems, which is all about end range joint strength training. Okay, so a little bit how this training works. You really don't need much equipment at all. All I have are some optional weights, you have some yoga blocks and a mat. That's pretty much all you need. For the training methods, it's a lot of isometric contractions and a lot of really focused work on the joint. So it requires a lot of pressure and tension throughout the body. If you're working, let's say your shoulder, you really want to minimize movement and work just from the shoulder rather than moving your body all around like you see a lot of people doing. And one thing that we start with pretty much every single class, and what I recommend people doing and my clients to do every single day, are controlled articular rotations for all your joints. So that literally is neck, shoulders, scapula, elbow, wrists, spine, hips, knees, ankles and feet, and hands as well you can do. So I'm not going to show you all of those today, but I'm just going to show you a few to get you warmed up before we start the actual work in the session. Okay, so we're on our knees. I'm going to explain how a controlled articular rotation should work, or how it should look, and how you should try and do it correctly. You need to build tension throughout your body and minimize the compensations elsewhere in the body. So let's say we're working our shoulder, okay? So my shoulder is the only thing that I'm trying to move. Obviously the scapula moves a little bit with it because they're like fused together, but this is what I'm looking for. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. Imagining that you're going 1 mile an hour, you're focusing all your focus onto that joint itself. What I don't want to see are compensations, which are, for example, if I'm doing the shoulder again, and I get to here and then I feel like I can't move it up without arching my back to lift my arm all the way overhead, and then I come back here and I'm flexing the spine and I'm leaning forward, I'm rolling the scapula over to make a bigger circle as I can. We want to make the joint circles really large, or as large as possible, but not at the expense of moving elsewhere in the body or compensating. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is some T-spine or thoracic spine cars, right? So we're going to be on our knees, and the reason why we do it on our knees to start with as beginners is because we want to lock off the hips and the pelvis. We don't want to start moving. We want to keep it like, imagine you're in a block of ice so you can't move. We're going to cross our hands over our chest. Whatever's comfortable for you, you can push your hands together or across them, and we're going to flex forwards in the spine, focusing on the T-spine. We're going to rotate to one side, side bend, extend that T-spine all the way around, side bend, rotate and flex back to the beginning. Then we're going to go that way again. Moving nice and slow, building tension throughout the body, trying not to compensate or move elsewhere. That's 2 one side, we're going to go 2 to the other side. Okay, 2 and 2. Okay, we're going to move on to our hips now. Okay, so you can either do this standing up or side lying. I'm going to show you side lying because it just makes it a little bit easier to lock off and keep that body from moving or compensating. Watch me just so if you're unsure of what to do, if this is the first time you're ever seeing a hip car or ever doing one, the hip flexes up, or the leg flexes up, abducts, internally rotates as we go back with our heel, so we extend, and then we come to the midpoint, knees together. Then we extend back with the heel, trying not to compensate and staying tight everywhere else. Lifting up, then we externally rotate when we can't go any further and come back into flexion and go back down. Your whole body should be tense as you do this, so you try and not move elsewhere. So you're focusing everything on that hip joint. So we're going to go for 2 reps. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. Do not try and copy my range of motion, and do not try and arch at the back or compensate elsewhere to make a circle as big as mine. If your hip circles are tiny, but you're not compensating anywhere else, That is way better than doing it incorrectly and arching at the spine, arching at the lower back, moving around all over the place to get a really big circle. That's not what we want. Okay, that's 2 reps on the right leg. We're going to go for 2 reps on the left leg. So pack that air down, build tension. Off we go. Flexion, abduction, internal rotation, extension, adduction, then reverse. Extension, abduction, external rotation into flexion, back down. 1 more. Or simple terms, up, open, internally rotate and go back, knees together, heel back, open up again, nice and high. When you get to that sticky point, externally rotate so we can bring the knee back up towards our chest and back down. Fantastic. Okay, because we're doing some ankles today in the class, I'm going to warm up the ankles. So what we do with the ankle, you can do it standing up or you can do it sitting down. I'm going to show you sitting down so we can minimize compensations again. It's a very popular theme. So right hand comes underneath your right leg, left hand comes onto your right shin, right hand locks it off on the forearm. Lift that right leg off, right foot off the ground, and we're going to push our foot towards the ground, then make a big circle coming in, up, out, and down. In, up, out, and down. 1 more. And then reverse. So out, up, in, down for 2 more reps. Nice and slow. Really focus on your ankle, nothing else. 1 more. Good. Okay. Exactly the same on the other side. So, in, down, out, up, in, down, out, up. Or rotate right, plantar flex, out, dorsiflex, and reverse. Out, down, in, up. 1 more. Try not to move from the shin bone or the knee, just the ankle. There we go. Okay guys, that's the controlled articulation element done. Usually in a proper class we do 4 on everything. We go and ramp it up, we can add some weights, we can build tension. This is just a little bit of a tester or a teaser. Okay, next we're going to go and do a little bit of hip stuff. So if you don't have a block, find a book or something that you can sit on, unless you have super hypermobile or really flexible hips. If you sit on the floor without a block, we're going to be in a bear sit position, which is like this. It can get quite uncomfortable to sit like this and you want to fall back. If that's a problem, then you raise yourself up a little bit. So everybody get in this position, and as we're stretching and holding this position, I'll explain what the sort of the workout or the exercise is going to be. So we're going to hold this position for 2 minutes. What you want to do is have your ankles stacked by your knees or over your knees or under your knees, sorry, and then just try and force, actively force to as much hip abduction as possible, so legs going out. Once you're there, keep your chest nice and high, relax a little bit, and hold this position. You're going to be breathing nice and slowly through our nose, 4 seconds in, and then 4 to 8 seconds out as much as you can, slow and steady. We're going to be coming up to what's called a pales and rails contraction, or progressive and regressive angular isometric contractions. Basically means doing a lot of work where it doesn't look like you're doing a lot of work. You're going to fight for as much max range that you have, and you're going to fight with it and against it. So the first one is always the pales contraction. So what we're going to do, we're going to use our hands to block off our legs And the pales contraction is going to be driving in as if we're forcing internal rotation of our hips. But your hands are going to be blocking it, okay? So we're going to ramp this up like if you think of like a volume dial. So you go starting at 0 and you're just ramping it up slowly but surely, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way up to your greatest and safest effort. That can be 50%, it can be 100%, whatever is your greatest effort. That's different for every single person. And I really want you to concentrate on movement as your hands are blocking it from your hips. So from here, internally rotating in, internally rotating in. We're going to hold that, ramping it up nice and steady, up to max effort for about 15 to 20 seconds. And then once that's done, I'm going to say we go move instantly into our rails contraction, which is going to be forcing as much external rotation and abduction as we can. So we're trying to force our legs out. We're going to hold that max effort for about 15 to 20 seconds. Then we're going to, once that's done, I'm going to let you know, you're going to put your hands back down, you're going to rest, recover, and we're going to do 2 rounds of that. If you are not ready, then I don't know what to say because it's coming up in about 40 seconds. So remember, the first one, hands are blocking, you're fighting in, like you're trying to close your legs, as much as you can. Adduction and internal rotation at the same time. Okay then, 5 seconds, take a deep breath in, build tension as much as you can, and slowly ramp up. Drive those knees into your hands, 20%, 40%, 60%, up to your max effort without pain. Driving in as hard as you can. Keep concentrating on the hips, driving in, closing those legs, but hands are blocking it. Keep going, 5 seconds. And then reverse. So really try and drive out into hip abduction. Legs out as wide as you possibly can, as hard as you possibly can. Keep going, keep your chest up nice and high, 10 seconds left. Also imagine externally rotating your hips. And then hands back on, slowly relax. Release. Try and sink a little bit deeper into the stretch if you can. If you can't, stay where you are. Really good effort. This is all to do with building tension throughout your entire body, concentrating on the hips, or whatever joint it is you're working, this is the hips, and just working as hard as you can in a safe environment. This is going to give you strength at your end ranges and more flexibility at the same time. It's like 2 birds in 1 stone. That's why this training is so effective. Coming up to the next round then. 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in, driving into our hands again, like we're imagining are closing our legs. Slowly ramping up, like a volume dial. Should be at your greatest and safest effort about now. So keep working as hard as you can in your own limits. About 5 seconds left. Focus on adduction and internal rotation. Then drive out, hands come off. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, move your hands to the outside and try and close your legs with your hands, and don't let that happen with your legs. So keep fighting for that abduction and external rotation of the hips. About 5 more seconds. Slowly release. Hands come back to the inside of our legs. Chest nice and tall. Deep breath in, slow breathe in, and relax into that stretch to try and get and open up more ranges of motion. So this is the training methods that we use for all of the joints, and it can be in thousands of different positions. Basically is just, there's a library, an extensive library of so many different moves, so many different things you can do, all to improve your strength at end ranges of motion. The main aspect is pails and rails, which is what I've just shown you. And there's also some other things you can do. Oh, that's the timer just to finish. There's also some other things you can do, which I'm going to show you, that just move your joints and your hips, shoulders through loads of different ranges. Okay, so ready to come out of that? Just relax, bring the knees in together, give it a little bit of a shake off. Fantastic. Okay, so that's a little bit of the hips. We'll show you a little bit, well, I'll show you a little bit more hip stuff, and then we'll move on to some shoulders, then we'll move on to some ankles, and then we'll be done. Next, just going to do some internal rotation of the hip in what we call like a 90-90 position, or a modified 90-90. This is a tough position to get in for a lot of people. If you can't get into this position without, if you lift your hands off and you feel like you're falling over, then you grab a block, stick it underneath your hamstring or your glute on the front leg, and then push yourself up away from the floor and anteriorly tilt that pelvis, or stick your bum back, arch in the lower spine. Oh, hey. Got my dog to say hello. Her name's Precious. She's a 10-year-old rescue that we saved a couple of months ago, and she's, bless her, she's been through a lot. Anyway, okay, so this is the position you want to be in, and we're going to do some lift-offs for the back leg. So if I try and lift off here, yep, I can get a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see because of the dog, but I'm lifting up, I'm internally rotating in the back of the hip, so I'm feeling it all in the good stuff around here, around the back of the glute, inside my groin. If you can't lift off, like you try and move, like you tense everything up, and the only way you can lift off is by like throwing your body, that's not what we want. So lean forwards, lean out to the side a little bit, and that'll be way easier to lift off. What we're going to do is just 10 reps on one leg, lifting off. Okay, so find that position that's comfortable for you, where you can lift off, and it's hard, but it's not too easy. Again, you want to stay really still. Everywhere else, build that tension, pat the air down, irradiate tension, only move from the hip. 10 reps, off we go. 1, and hold, down. 2, hold, down. 3, hold, down. 4, hold, down. 5, hold, down, halfway. 6, down. 7, and control it down, don't let it drop down. 8, 9, last one, we're going to hold for 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, up and hold. Fight for as much internal rotation as you can, keep fighting for more. 7, 6, don't compensate. 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Brilliant. Swap sides. So remember the cues. And guys, if this is still uncomfortable, raise yourself up even higher. You can go up really high if that's what you need to do. Or you can remove the block entirely and just literally lie on your side, like so. Whatever's comfortable for you, as long as you can initiate some internal rotation in this leg, the left leg now, without moving around all in the upper body. Make sure you try and level off those pelvis, the pelvis. So you up, anteriorly tilt, stick the bum back, sit back down on the block. Find a position that you can initiate some internal rotation. My left one feels way more difficult. That's normal as well. Okay, 10 reps then. Pack that air down, build tension, up, hold, down. 2, hold, down. 3, hold, down. 4, hold, down. 5, hold, down. 6, hold softly down. 7, hold down, 8, hold, down, almost there, 2 more, 9, hold, down, last one, 10 seconds, 3, 2, 1, everything you've got, up, and keep fighting for more. Floor is lava, don't let it touch, get as high as you can. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, slowly release. Whoo. Right guys, okay, we're gonna move into some shoulder work now. What we're gonna do is some shoulder swimmers. So you're gonna be lying. Let's have a think. Should we do prone or should we do collapse kneeling? Let's do prone just in case people don't have blocks. So you're gonna be lying. If you don't have blocks, that's absolutely fine. If you do have blocks, even better. I'll do it without blocks. But if you have blocks, it will make it a lot harder. Lying on our bellies. Right, okay, we're going to be lifting from our shoulders off the ground. And we're going to try not to compensate. So if I lift here and I lift my back or I arch, I can get really high. What I want you to do is focus on scapula stays exactly where it is. And you lift off as much as you've got and then back down. We're going to go for 10 reps of those. If you have blocks, and the higher up you go, that's going to put your shoulder into more end range of motion, which means it's going to be even harder. So can I lift off from here? Just about. If you don't have blocks, that's fine. I'm going to do blocks just because it's a good demonstration. Okay, 10 reps from this position. So tense everywhere else. Pack that air down. 3, 2, 1, lift off, down. Lift off and down, off, down, off, down, off, down, off, down. 4 more, off, down. Keep fighting as high as you can go each time. 2 more. Last one, and hold for 10 seconds. 10, 9. As high as you can, don't compensate elsewhere. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Stay in this position. Lift your heads up so you can see the screen. We are going to do some shoulder swimmers from this position. So blocks can go away if you have them. I'm going to demonstrate with one arm just so I can talk at the same time. We're going to lift off. We're going to have hands in neutral position, so fist in neutral. You're going to lift off, and then the whole time you're going to initiate internal rotation of the shoulder as you come all the way back and trying to lift your hand up towards the ceiling or your arm up towards the ceiling as much as you can whilst internally rotating. I'm still internally rotating the entire time. Then I bend at the elbow and I try to hover off my back. Then I touch down on my lower back, lift off straight away, extend at the elbow, externally rotate, keep fighting for external rotation as I come the whole way back round to the start and drop down. So the first half of the movement is internal rotation of the shoulder as we go really, really high, touch the lower back, back off, and then extend the elbow, and then externally rotate and lift up as high as we can the whole way back down. Really, really tough. Let's go for, can we do 5 reps? Let's give it a go. So both arms at the same time. It's probably going to be more difficult using both arms at the same time. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, hands above the head. Build that tension. Pack that air down. 3, 2, 1, lift up. Internally rotate as we go back as high as we can, and then hover just off the lower back, then touch down straight back off, extend in the elbows, externally rotate as we come the whole way round. Back up, and then touch down. I need to move over slightly because I'm hitting the wall. 4 more reps. Up, internally rotate and back. Bend at the elbows, hover, touch the lower back, lift off again.
Keep lifting as high as we can as we go into external rotation, lifting up, 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 away from the body, back to the top of the head, and place down. Straight back up, internally rotate the shoulder, all the way back. Bend at the elbow, hover off the lower back, touch down, hover back, off, extend at the elbow, externally rotate. Keep fighting for external rotation as we come all the way overhead. Drop back down, 2 more. Up, internally rotate, back as high as we can. Bend at the elbow, hover, touch lower back, lift off, extend at the elbow, externally rotate, all the way overhead. Last one. Up, internally rotate and back. Lift off as high as we can, best rep yet. As much range as you've got. Touch on the lower back, lift off. External rotation, and all the way overhead, high as we can, relax. Shoulder burner.
Last thing for the shoulders, guys, is going to be just some capsular cars for the shoulder. So, external rotation and internal rotation of the shoulder. If you come down to collapse kneeling, put your hands out like so. So like elbows are up level with your shoulders. Keep the scapula where they are. With your right arm, you're going to externally rotate as much as you've got. Your left arm, you're going to internally rotate as much as you've got. Fight for more, then reverse. Get as far as you can without compensating. Fight for more, reverse. 5 on each side. Fight for more, reverse. Fight for more, reverse. 3 more. Fight for more, reverse. Stay tight everywhere else. Focus on the shoulder, reverse. Fight for more, reverse. Fight for more. Last one. So external right, internal left. And external left, internal right. Good. Shake off the arms. Again, guys, very short but sweet. Classes are a lot more intense than this, a lot longer than this, but I just want to give you a little bit of a taste of what it's like. Next is going to be some ankle dorsiflexion, then we're done. So all you need is a platform that you can raise 1 foot off. It doesn't need to be blocks. It can be a book, it can be a stool, anything that's a hard sofa, a hard surface, even like a coffee table or something, as long as you don't break the coffee table. So what I want you to do, if you have trouble with your squat, this is a great exercise for it, because a lot of people don't realize with their squat you need a lot of ankle dorsiflexion, bringing that knee over your toes. I'm sure everyone's heard of the knees over toes guy. This is part of it. So what I want you to do is find some, lift. We're going to work our, whilst I'm here, may as well work the right leg. Work the right leg first. What you're going to do, lift it off the ground just a little bit and try and initiate as much dorsiflexion as you possibly can. So that's mine there. What then you want to do is take note of that position, give as much as you can, and then place it down while still fighting for it on the block or on the whatever surface you've got. If it's just the floor, it's just the floor, that's fine. We're going to hold this, oh my phone. We're going to hold this for 2 minutes. So you guys hold this while I grab my phone because I left it there. So I want you to relax into this stretch whilst keeping your heel on the ground or on the whatever platform you've got it on, trying to push and actively sort of get as much range of motion as you can. Imagine that your big toe is trying to like touch your shin. You're going to hold this stretch. You don't want to be doing too much because we've got the work coming up now. what you want to be doing, okay, so for the pails element, you are going to try and imagine that whatever your foot is on is a scale, and you are going to push into that scale as hard as you can, imagining that you're bringing your foot down like so, like gas pedaling down, fighting against the position we're in. So you're going to be ramping that up. Like I said, remember the volume dial up to your greatest and safest effort for about 15-20 seconds. Then when I say reverse, you're going to imagine that this scale now weighs nothing. You're trying to make it weigh absolutely nothing, trying to make it weigh zero. So your foot is going to be wanting to lift off all the way into your shin. All these muscles and all these intrinsic lines of tissue up your shin are going to be screaming, they're going to be burning. That's what I want. Imagine that you're lifting that foot off the scale, but nothing's going to happen because you're at your end range of motion. Again, that's going to teach all your lines of muscle, lines of tissue to get stronger and more mobile. 20 seconds left, and we'll do exactly what I just said. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. So stay where we are, build tension, and make that scale weigh as much as you possibly can. Drive the foot down as hard as you can. Build it up to your max effort. You should be there already. Keep pushing down as hard as you possibly can. 3, 2, 1. Reverse. Make that scale weigh absolutely nothing. Lift that toe, lift that foot as high as you can, as hard up. Draw that foot towards your shin. Feel the burn on all the shin bone, all the shin muscles. Keep going, 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Try and sink a little bit deeper into this stretch. You should be feeling like a burning sensation all the way up your shin. Remember, do not lift your heel off whatever platform it's on. Keep the heel firmly into the ground. Got one more round of this. Here we go then, pack the air down, tension everywhere else, build tension, do not move, and drive into the block. As hard as you can, ramping up to max effort. There we go, should be there now. Keep pushing. Last round on this ankle. 10 seconds left. Hard as you got, keep going, push, 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 push. Reverse. Make that scale weigh absolutely nothing. Stay in the position you're in. Don't lean back. Keep pushing. This is where the burn happens. This is where you get the gains, or the mobility and the strength. Keep going. 8 seconds. 7, 6, everything you got. 4, 3. Relax. Lean forwards. A little bit deeper into that stretch. 35 seconds. Holding it here, and then we'll swap feet, and we'll be done with the class today. Ten seconds left, guys. Well done. Slowly come out of that position. Ooh. Give the foot, the right ankle, a little bit of a rotate. And then straight in on the other side. So what you want to do, remember, lift that foot as high as you can off the ground into as much dorsiflexion as possible. Take note of where it is, put your foot on the ground and then try to sink into a little bit more. When you're in that position, we're going to start our 2-minute stretch. And what I should have said before, if you're feeling or experiencing any like pinching, impingement, pain, back off. Like you should never work through pain. It's going to be like painful in a good sense, but if you're feeling that tight stuff, that pinching, that means that you need to be backing off and working in a pain-free range. Okay, so heels staying firmly on the block, on the floor, on the platform, whatever you're on. Trying to get as much dorsiflexion as possible. About a minute left of this stretch. And remember, the pales element, the first contraction we're doing is pushing down into those scales, making it as heavy as possible, trying to initiate plantar flexion. Nothing's going to happen because we're at this end range of motion and the block is doing what it should do, blocking it. And then after that, immediately reverse, rails, as much dorsiflexion as you possibly can, trying to make that scale weigh absolutely nothing. "20 seconds left. Remember, irradiate, build tension throughout the entire body, and do not let the body compensate. Try not to move anywhere else apart from working from the ankle. 5 seconds. Deep breath in. And slowly ramp up. Push that foot into the block. Make that scale weigh as much as you can. Concentrate on it. Focus as much as you can. Should be at your greatest and safest effort now. 5 seconds. Reverse. Make that scale weigh as little as possible. Lifting up, using all the lines of tissue in the shin. Top of the foot, big toe even. Lift that big toe up, try and get it to touch your shin. Stay in that end range of motion, tight everywhere else. 5 seconds. And relax. Try and sink a little bit deeper into that stretch if you can. If you can't, that's absolutely fine. If you feel like an intense stretch here, that's great. Coming up to our last round of the ankle, of this ankle, of the class. 15 seconds left. Give it everything you've got for this one. Obviously, within your pain-free effort. 3, 2, 1. Ramp up like a volume dial. Driving down into the floor, into the block. Staying where we are though, don't move. Just keep focusing that pressure into the scales. 10 seconds left. And reverse. As hard as you can, lifting that foot into dorsiflexion, trying to get your foot to touch your top of your shin. Keep going. Last one. 10 seconds left. Everything you got, come on. Feel the burn. 5 seconds. And release. 45-second stretch. Deep breaths in through the nose. And deep breaths out slowly. Really good effort, guys. When I say guys, I do mean everybody, you know, it's just a habit I've got, so I don't mean any offense by that. Guys are just everybody. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come out of that. Oh. Again, if you need to, give that ankle a little bit of a move around, some rotations. And what we do to finish off a class, guys, is 100 burpees to finish. I'm only joking. Right, guys, okay, so that's the ankles done. Now we are going to just do a couple of controlled articular rotations. What we do at the end of the session is we usually finish off with some cars because you can teach your body that new range of motion that you've worked so hard for. So let's start with the hips. Lying on our left side, and we're going to do 3 reps on the right hand side, on the right leg. So flexing, then lifting up, internally rotating, nice and steady. Knees together and reverse. Just remember, you don't have to be like as tense as you were for the pels and rails, for the main body of the workout, but you still should be tense so you don't compensate elsewhere. 1 more rep. Lovely stuff. I'll swap over for you so I don't kick the doggy. She's scared of flies, bless her. Left side then, left hip. So, tension, grab those hands together and lift, open, internally rotate as we go back, knees together, reverse. Have a little think about how your hip feels, if it feels any different. It probably won't feel that different because we didn't do loads for the hips, but you never know. Just doing these will for sure help your body into understanding that it still has all this range of motion left, you just haven't been using it. The human body is amazing at forgetting how to do things if you don't do them because it's so good at preserving calories and energy. Okay then, hips done. Do some ankles. So right leg first. Just what we did before. So plantar flex down, then rotate in, up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up, out. When we get down, reverse, out, up, in, down. 2 more. Left leg then. Lock it off. Plantar flex down, in, dorsiflex up, out, down, rotate in, up, out, down, in, up, out, and swap ways. Out, up, in, down, out, up, in, down. Fantastic. Okay, shoulders then. We'll do both at the same time from a kneeling position. I didn't show you controlled articular rotations of the shoulders at the start of the session because we didn't do any pels and rails. We just did some capsular cars and we did a little bit of the swimmers and the lift-offs, but we'll do some shoulder cars just because I'm feeling generous. Okay, so both hands out like so. Initiate internal and external rotation. So we want the external rotational aspect first. Always fighting for external rotation the entire time as we come up. And then as we get to the top, we initiate internal rotation as we come back. Always fighting for internal rotation. as we come to our sides, and then we reverse. Internal rotation the whole time. As we lift up, you'll get to a sticky point where you can't go any further. Then you externally rotate, come up and back in. One more rep. Externally rotate as we come in and up. Internally rotate as we go back. Keep internally rotating, staying still as much as we can. Don't compensate. Keep that spine still. Reverse. Sticky point, externally rotate. Keep externally rotating as we come back to the start point. And give it a little bit of a shake off. Guys, that's your little taster session. Hope you enjoyed it. There's loads more classes for all the other joints on my platform. I'm going to be doing it on Skool community. You'll probably be here already because I'm going to put this on Skool as well. Thank you so much, and please, if you have any questions, comment below or send me a DM.